If you've ever had a computer virus or been the victim of an email scam, you'll know it's no joke. And it's definitely no laughing matter if something similar happens at sea. There are now growing concerns that cyber threats are closing in on shipping.
They're coming. They're absolutely coming. As technology changes, as we use more technology, as we have more and more ubiquitous connectivity, you're just going to get more and more cyber threats.
10 years ago, many ships weren't networked, they weren't patched up, and nowadays with the reduction in crew sizes, there's an increasing dependency on the electronic devices and communications back to shore, back to other ships. That in turn has increased the cyber security.
Ships' crews are used to protecting a ship from physical threats or intrusion. But they aren't necessarily aware of the virtual threat that's posed by cyber criminals. Ship systems and operations are now frequently networked. When malicious software, malware, gets into one part of the ship's system, it may gain access to the rest as well. Malware comes in a number of forms. Viruses can be contracted from removable media, fake attachments to emails, or from hyperlinks to malicious websites. To infect a computer or network, a virus has to be downloaded or opened. Worms only have to find a gap in an operating system that's poorly protected or out of date. Once inside, worms and viruses can damage data and act as the carrier for further forms of malware. Criminal attacks involving ransomware and Trojans often make headlines the world over. Ransomware paralyzes a computer system until the individual or company pays to regain control, while Trojans steal or manipulate commercially sensitive information. But attacks can also be state-sponsored or come from so-called hacktivists who want to raise awareness of a particular issue.
There is no definition of a hacker. They could be anyone. Could be the person you walk past in the street. Could be a child sitting in his bedroom with nothing better to do. Or it could be a group of people working together to bring you down. It could be political reasons. It could be commercial reasons. Or it could be just for fun.
The people you probably need to be most afraid of are the ones that you wouldn't imagine are hackers. This is business now, and businessmen and civil servants are doing it as well as lone hackers.
Although high-profile attacks are generally carried out by criminals, most cybersecurity incidents are triggered by employees, often by mistake. For example, if they click on a link or attachment in an email, or insert an infected USB drive or personal device, such as a mobile phone, into a computer. The effect of a breach may not show up immediately. Criminals may wait for some months, choosing the best moment to strike. The risk of infection is increased in port or whenever someone new arrives on the ship. This might be terminal staff, service engineers, or other visitors who bring viruses aboard on laptops and tablets, or on other removable media, such as memory cards, USB drives, and smartphones.
USB ports, because of their nature, are completely open. This means a virus could be on the payload on the disk, on the drive. When they plug it in, they could access the network, spread a virus around the vessel, or spread malware.
341, eh? Yes, that's right.
Most vessels, you can go on board with a USB stick and print out any files you wanted, especially for operational needs. And That's how viruses get in, to be honest, through malware.
If something goes wrong with a computer system, it doesn't only cause inconvenience. It can interrupt the ship's business. Valuable data could be lost or passed on to criminals. And the resulting disruption to the ship's network will make it a lot harder for everyone to keep in touch with home. To address these problems, the International Maritime Organization, IMO, has issued guidelines on how to safeguard shipping from cyber threats and vulnerabilities. The IMO has also amended the International Safety Management, ISM code, to reflect cyber threats. As of January 1st, 2021, and no later than the first annual verification of their document of compliance, companies will need to make sure the risks are appropriately addressed in their Safety Management System, SMS. Since many ships are in constant communication with the shore office, it's also vital that the company's own IT infrastructure is secure to prevent the shore from accidentally infecting the ship. BIMCO and other industry organizations have issued their own set of guidelines on how companies can best manage cybersecurity.
The guidelines that were produced are very much in line with any ship security plan. So ultimately, the master on board has sole responsibility to ensure that he has a policy for cybersecurity on board his particular ship. And this is very much in line with normal ship operating procedures, so that a cyber attack is, in effect, just another incident on board a ship, which can be practiced and drilled, very similar to a fire drill or a man overboard or even a piracy attack.
The first step in managing cyber threats is to assess the risks. A cybersecurity attack could target the ship's Wi-Fi network through infected software updates or email. Or it could be physical, through USB ports and the crew's personal devices. In a public environment where the network ports and cabling are insecure or unregulated, an attacker could easily gain access to the ship's IT system.
It's wherever you have individuals and technology interacting. For example, if you have removable media, maybe you have a document or a video on a USB key or a mobile phone and you plug that into the system, there is a threat that you will contract a virus. If you are connecting to an unsecure wireless network, there is a threat that somebody could either be eavesdropping on your correspondence or that you could again contract some kind of malware that could impact your mobile device and therefore transfer over to your systems. And ultimately you have vessels that have equipment on them that's been there for some time. All of those things combine and leaves vessels vulnerable.
Any computer may become infected. Not only a vessel's IT, its day-to-day admin systems, but also its OT, or operational technology. The propulsion, power management and monitoring systems, navigation, and cargo management systems. All ships have at least some computer systems that are at risk. And many of these are safety critical. Operational technology and, in particular, integrated automation systems, IAS, and navigation equipment can be especially vulnerable. What were once state-of-the-art systems when the ship was built can quickly fall behind current technology, making them even more susceptible to attack by hackers.
Theoretically, if the IAS system is breached and they've got access to the control systems of the vessel, they could stop the vessel, they could stop the operational tech of the vessel, stop it from running, from loading, discharging, for instance. Because of the nature of the IAS system, it's pretty much left alone after it's installed. Some are running on Windows operating systems that haven't been patched, haven't been updated in probably the lifespan of the vessel. So they've got open doors ready to be attacked.
To help close these open doors, your company may send an IT specialist to the ship to assess what needs to be done to make it more secure. But just as with the physical security hardening that's done before passing through a pirate zone, the ship's personnel can also help to harden the ship's cyber security.
Hello.
Hi, Captain.
Hi, Tom.
Right, this is Patrick. This is the
Hi, good morning. Hi, Patrick. Nice to meet you. Tom's going to be running through all the information for you.
The risks can be assessed by using elements of the ship's security assessment, required for the ship security plan, as set out in the ISPS code. A systematic approach should also be taken, as outlined in the International Standard on Information Security Management, ISO IEC 27001. For example, all vulnerable equipment should be assessed for threats. This might include confirming that OT and IAS systems running on outdated or unsupported operating platforms have been isolated from the ship's network. All the IT hardware and security software on the business network should also be confirmed as working properly. And a check should be made to see that personnel are not logging on as an administrator if they are not authorized to do so. It should also be established that the AIS, OT and IT networks are all separated. Your company's IT department may be able to check the security of your business Wi-Fi network remotely. Or this could be tested and scanned locally aboard ship. Either way, it's essential that the connection is confirmed as secure, as the ship's Wi-Fi network could be an entry point for a hacker.
Because of the broadcast range of the Wi-Fi system, they can normally access it from the jetty, which means if they can access it from the jetty, they can attempt to connect to the ship via the Wi-Fi system. A wannabe attacker could search for an IP address within a certain range, find you, and then attempt to access your network. Scan the ports to see what's free, and attack those ports to see if they could get in.
So let's have a look at these. Okay, so as we can actually see, you've got 3 ports that are showing as open. Are you using
any issues or vulnerabilities found during the assessment should be noted and acted upon.
Close the other 2 ports.
But assessing cybersecurity is only the beginning. Everyone on the ship can play an important part in maintaining cyber hygiene.
Tries to run in.
When everyone on board is made aware of the risks and knows how to protect against them, the ship will be much less likely to fall victim to an attack. Phishing is one of the most common cyber breaches, where criminals trick victims into revealing personal financial information. Often they will have found out facts about you or your company from the internet and social media sites.
One of the things that people tend not to think about is when they're interacting publicly on technology media, so social media, not because of privacy issues, but because that information can be used to craft emails to then send to you that appear relevant to your particular situation. You should be wary that the people you're speaking to aren't necessarily real people, and you should be careful of that when you're sharing information. However long you've built up a relationship with them, if you haven't met them, if you haven't spoken to them, if you don't know them, people are making money from this. It's in their interests to fool you into sharing information in some way.
Using social media, criminals might send you a message, maybe liking something you have posted. The message may even look as if it's come from someone you know. Someone who has perhaps friended you in the past. If you are not careful, you may either authorize money to be taken out of your account or give away login credentials without realizing it. And clicking on a link or opening an email attachment runs the risk of contracting a virus. When in doubt, delete suspicious emails immediately. And always check whether emails asking for confidential information about the ship are authentic.
We've received emails pretending to be from the bunkering company saying that they've bunkered one of our vessels and that they require payment. The only thing's wrong with they sending it to the wrong people and from email addresses that didn't match the bunkering company. And we didn't do bunkering at that time. So we know it was not an original email, but they were asking for payment.
Cyber hygiene is not just about being careful with emails. It's also about taking care when sharing files or media. For example, be aware that TV or movies downloaded ashore could bring viruses on board that could damage the ship's network. And never plug in an unknown USB drive that you find on a desk or other surface. It could contain malware and have been deliberately placed there.
What we have seen is crew members coming on board ships with USB sticks that they've maybe bought cheaply. They don't know the full contents. And it's believed that some are already diseased when they're purchased.
This is why antivirus programs should always be set up to scan removable media automatically. If you or visitors need to use removable media, check the program settings to see that the scanning hasn't been turned off. And as an extra security measure in case they are misplaced, it is recommended that the ship's USB drives are encrypted. Cybersecurity risks can also be reduced in a physical way. By locking cabinets that hold computer hardware, network connections and cabling. Blocking open network sockets, USB ports and CD/DVD drives. Naming USB drives for specific roles. Not leaving third-party technicians alone while they use the ship's computers or work on safety-critical systems. And ideally, providing surveyors, agents and terminal planners with their own dedicated computer that's not connected to the main network. The Shore Office should help to protect the ship's systems against malware by making sure the antivirus programs and operating systems are regularly updated, and by supplying the ship with a whitelist of approved software and websites. The Shore Office also has the responsibility for setting the administrator passwords for the ship's business network, but these should be made available to the master as well. As an extra precaution, a hard copy should be made and kept in the ship's safe. This is not only for security reasons, but also if work needs to be carried out when communication with shore becomes unavailable. User login passwords should be memorable and strong, but at the same time, not too easily guessed. They should contain a mix of upper and lowercase letters and numbers. Above all, they should never be written down. If a password has already been taped to a computer, it should be removed. When using social media, remember to adjust your privacy settings to high. And be careful what you post. The information, opinions, photos or videos that you upload could all be used by criminals or the company's competitors to gather information about you and the ship's activity. The ship's own data must be backed up regularly. If it should be lost, it could cause all kinds of problems for the ship and the business. Finally, avoid improvising. For example, certain onboard systems are not designed to be connected to other devices. The ship's safe operation could be compromised. Supposing something does go wrong, what should you do? And how would you know there's been a breach in the first place? Sometimes it's obvious. A system or device crashes unexpectedly. But some malware can work in the background without being spotted. One symptom could be that the computer works much more slowly than normal. Or you may notice a loss of bandwidth. These could both be signs that a virus or Trojan has been transferred onto your network and is sending your files to its home computer. So, what should you do now?
The first thing you should do is tell someone. You should escalate. The longer you leave a cyber attack, the worse it will get. Tell somebody who can respond and who can invoke incident response procedures. The worst thing you can do if you think you've got a virus or you think you're under cyber attack is hope it will go away. Time and time again, I've seen virus infections that have just spidered through an environment, spidered through an IT system because somebody didn't want to escalate because they were afraid of embarrassment, reprisal from their line manager, or even losing their job. So escalate the thing quickly so you can sort the problem out, and don't blame the people who've escalated. This happens to us all.
When a breach has occurred, the ship should put into action a well-rehearsed cybersecurity response plan. The plan could be that, as soon as a crew member has recognized an incident, they should report it to the master or designated IT person on board. It's then vital that the IT department is contacted for further instructions. They may have the ability to take over the computer network remotely and solve the problem. Or, depending on the company's response plan, the advice could be to disconnect the infected computer immediately. Either way, once resolved, any cybersecurity breach should be written up and circulated to the rest of the fleet to help protect against similar incidents. Satellite communication is becoming cheaper, faster, and more widely available. In the future, shipping will become increasingly reliant on automated systems and the Internet of Things that continually share information with the shore. As a consequence, the types of cybersecurity threat that affect ships will inevitably grow. And companies will need to keep reviewing and training personnel to deal with them. It may not be realistic to eliminate the threat entirely, but wherever possible, prevention is better than cure. Companies should have a cybersecurity policy that is led by management, and cybersecurity procedures that form part of the SMS. But everyone on board has a vital role to play in keeping all the onboard technology running smoothly. Remember, assess the risks. Be vigilant. Be careful with email attachments and links. Check that the antivirus program is set to scan all removable media automatically. Create strong and memorable passwords. Think before you post on social media. And monitor all non-crew members' use of computers while they're aboard. If you think there may have been a cyber breach, tell the designated officer immediately. Finally, All incidents should be reported so that investigations can take place and lessons can be learned. Further information on cybersecurity appears in the workbook that accompanies this program, including a glossary of terms and guidelines for creating strong passwords.